Hello friends, I'm Dr. Rohini Ruhil, wishing you a very happy new year. All through these years, we have seen that the world is facing an increased frequency of extreme weather events year after year. Maybe the time has come to go back to our roots and learn from the wisdom of centuries old indigenous practices. So, in this presentation, we will explore how indigenous wisdom tackles climate change. So, to start with, look at this marvelous living root bridge in Meghalaya. The Khasi and Jaintia tribes of Meghalaya have developed a unique technique of cultivating these living root bridges using the aerial roots of Ficus elastica trees. These bridges last for centuries and are resilient to extreme weather events like floods. Moreover, they help stabilize soil, they reduce soil erosion, and they support biodiversity in riverine ecosystems. So, recognized as a form of bioengineering, living root bridges exemplify how traditional ecological knowledge can create adaptive infrastructure. Now, look at these Buddhist monasteries and ice stupas in the sacred Himalayas. In Ladakh, the local communities, especially those connected with Buddhist monasteries, they have set aside certain high altitude areas as sacred. And these sacred places, these high altitude areas, these are strictly protected from any form of exploitation. And this has played a crucial role in conserving the delicate alpine ecosystems found there. In addition, these people have come up with the creation of ice stupas, which are artificial glaciers. These structures store glacial melt water during the winter, and as they melt in the summer, they provide much needed water for irrigation and other uses. So, this practice again shows how the community is adapting to the challenges posed by climate change. Now, coming to some agricultural practices by local tribes. So, to start with, the Kutiya tribe of Odisha, here you can see the Kutiya tribe of Odisha. They reside in the Nilgiri Hills and they have a seed preservation and traditional farming system. So, these people, this indigenous community, they preserve and cultivate native seeds, and these seeds are drought resistant, pest resistant, and adaptable to changing climatic conditions. They practice a mixed cropping system that minimizes the risk of crop failure and ensures food security in challenging environments. Now, continuing with the agricultural practices, here you can see Apatani tribe. The Apatani tribe, they reside in Zabo Valley of Arunachal Pradesh and they practice a unique form of rice cultivation. So, what is so unique about this rice cultivation? This is that they combine rice cultivation with fish farming. So, Apatanis, they cultivate rice and breed fish in the same field. So this enhances soil fertility, control pests, provide protein-rich food. So this system of combining rice cultivation with fish farming, this is highly productive and this is achieved without chemical fertilizers. It maintains soil quality and helps in water conservation also. So this is a wonderful practice of combining rice cultivation with fish farming by the Apatani tribes residing in the Zabo Valley of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, similar to Apatani rice cultivation practices, there is this Pokali and Kuiper rice farming in Kerala. So, this Pokali and Kuiper rice farming, these are age-old practices that suits the unique ecological conditions of this area. What is so unique about them? You know that during monsoons, the fields, they get waterlogged with the salt water, like the coastal areas, the water is salty. So these varieties, this Pokali and Kuiper rice, they are salt water resistant varieties. So they grow well where the water is like little salty. So Pokali farming is primarily practiced in the central districts of Kerala such as Ernakulam, Alappuzha, Tharisur. So Kuiper farming on the other hand, this is practiced further north in Kerala, particularly in Kannur and the Kasargod districts. So these rice varieties, they also don't require chemical fertilizers or pesticides. It makes them environment friendly. And after the monsoon season, the fields are converted into aquaculture farms. And here shrimp and prawns are reared. So here you can see aquaculture farms where there are shrimps, prawns. So this integrated system, it works wonderfully. Paddy stubble left behind after the harvest, this paddy stubble, it serves as feed for the shrimp, where while the nutrients from the shrimp that enrich the soil for the next rice growing season. So again, a wonderful farming system of the Pokali and the Kuiper rice farming in Kerala. Now coming to some indigenous water conservation techniques. Here you can see some johars in Rajasthan. So the johar system is a traditional rainwater harvesting technique widely used by rural communities in Rajasthan and other areas also, but in Rajasthan, particularly in Alwar district. Johars are small crescent shaped check dams built to capture and store rainwater. These structures, they replenish groundwater, ensure water availability during droughts, support local agriculture also. So let us see how they work. Now let's understand how this Johar system works. So here, like, this is rocky upland. Now slightly on the lower lands, here a band or a check dam is built here. And so due to this band or this Khaden band, here, like, this is Johar, here the monsoon water gets collected from the rocky upland. Also the surface runoff water, it gets collected in this Johar or this Khaden. So this also enriches the groundwater. The water seeps into the groundwater, increases the level of this groundwater. So on the further lower lands, this shallow dung well or a well can be built where this groundwater can be used. So this is the whole this traditional water conservation system in Rajasthan, the Johar system, where these kind of these Johars are built by building this bun. So this works very well, and it's a like the wonderful traditional water conservation techniques that are also practiced in other areas of the country. Now, just like Johar system in Rajasthan, there is a Far system in Maharashtra. The Far system practiced by communities in the Tapi river basin in Maharashtra. So this Far system, this is a community driven irrigation technique designed to optimize water usage in the semi-arid regions. And it involves constructing earthen dams to divert river water into canals. Like here you can see, like these earthen dams, they are built and they divert the river water into canals. For example, here you can see this map of a Kokla fort. So here this Panzara river, so here this the dam is built, earthen dam, and so this river water is diverted here into canal. Then further here, further for these earthen dams, these first they are built, and they are built here, and the water is further diverted into these canals. So this, by making these earthen dams, these forts, the water like this is diverted into canals, and then ultimately here one canal is made, and this the remaining water this goes back into the main river, this Panzara river. So like this it works very well, and this method supports equitable water distribution. Okay, it prevents overuse and it ensures sustainable agriculture. So this is also again our indigenous practice. So India has like wonderful indigenous water conservation practices, like we have seen Johar system, we have understood the Johar system, and now this FUD system in Maharashtra. So let's look at some other techniques. So similar systems we have across India by different names, like Kere in Karnataka, Cheruvu in Andhra Pradesh. So this Kere in Karnataka, Cheruvu in Andhra Pradesh, Cheruvu. So these are also age-old water harvesting methods. These are like again tanks are built, earthen like tanks are built. They collect and store monsoon rainwater, they recharge groundwater, and they ensure water availability for agriculture and drinking purposes. And especially during those seasons when like the rain is less, or drought seasons, or like in semi-arid conditions. So these tanks they are managed collectively by village communities. And so again an effective model of community based water management system. Now here you can see one case study from Northeast India. This is Zabo system of Chaksang tribe in Nagaland. The Zabo system, also known as the Ruza system, is a traditional water conservation and land management technique. This is practiced by Chaksang tribe in Nagaland. The Zabo method captures rainwater through a series of ponds and channels. Like here you can see a series of ponds and channels, and they are used for irrigation and livestock. And this system again, it prevents soil erosion, it improves water retention, ensures year round agricultural productivity. So its efficiency in managing water resources, particularly this Zabo system, this is significant in hilly terrains, like hilly terrains which are vulnerable to erratic rainfall patterns due to climate change. So these were some water management practices, some indigenous or traditional water management practices. Now coming to the ancient practice of sacred tanks, you can see such sacred tanks associated with temples all around India, and particularly in Tamil Nadu. So these sacred tanks, they are associated with temples, and these are examples of traditional water conservation that is related to religious practices or like cultural practices. And they again, these are also maintained by community. They are designed to store rainwater, they recharge groundwater, and these sacred tanks associated with temples, they play a crucial role in mitigating urban heat island effect. Like urban areas are hotter than the surrounding rural areas or the peripheral areas. So they help mitigate urban heat island effect. They ensure water availability during droughts or during the seasons of less rain. So these tanks, they again demonstrate how cultural and religious practices, they can provide sustainable solutions to urban water management challenges, because there are lots of challenges while we talk of these urban water management. Now shifting to a slightly different subtopic. Now coming to some practices of sustainable pastoralism. Pastoralism, animal rearing, raising, right? So here you can see the Bhotiyas community, the Bhotiyas, an indigenous community in Uttarakhand. They practice this alpine pastoralism. And what is unique about their practice, that it involves seasonal migration with livestock. So they move to higher pastures in summer and lower valleys in winters. So like this, they adapt to seasonal weather changes and ensure rotational use of pastures. So this transhuman system, It prevents overgrazing and maintains biodiversity. So similarly, just like you have seen the Bhotias community in Uttarakhand, the Toda community in the Nilgiri Hills of Tamil Nadu, this Toda community, they also practice traditional pastoralism, the rotational pastoralism, and they have sustained local grasslands. They have maintained biodiversity for centuries. So the Todas particularly engage in buffalo herding, and which relies on managing grassland sustainably. So, unlike intensive livestock farming, Toda pastoralism uses rotational grazing practices similar to alpine pastoralism of Bhotia's community. So, their buffalo herds they graze on specific grass species and they promote natural regeneration of the grasslands. Now, let's take some examples of forest conservation. So when we talk about forest, so we can easily think of Sundarbans of West Bengal. So in the Sundarbans of West Bengal, indigenous communities they protect sacred mangrove patches and they consider these mangrove patches as an abode of deities. These mangroves they act as natural barriers against cyclones, storms, and these cyclone storms these are intensifying these days due to climate change. So the community driven conservation of these sacred mangrove patches, these forests, that aids in carbon sequestration, biodiversity protection and adaptation to sea level rise. Now this mangrove conservation practices in the Sundarbans this demonstrate the symbiotic relationship between cultural beliefs like these communities they consider these as abode of deities, so the cultural beliefs and the ecosystem sustainability. So this is again like a very good example of our indigenous wisdom to combat climate change. Now, just like Sundarbans, in many parts of India, sacred groves or forest patches, they are protected by local communities. Like here in this slide, you can see the example of Meghalaya's Khasi Hills. So here the Khasi community's sacred groves, they are known as lock in tang, and they house diverse flora and fauna. They act as carbon sinks. And these groves, these lock and tang, they serve as biodiversity hotspots. They preserve rare plants, and these rare plants and species that might otherwise be lost due to deforestation. These sacred forest patches, these lock and tang, they also help maintain water cycle. They support groundwater recharge, soil retention. So by protecting these forests, these indigenous communities, they contribute to local climate stability. So again, very good example of traditional indigenous forest conservation practices by local communities and tribes. Similarly, in Nagaland, the indigenous Naga tribes, they practice sustainable bamboo harvesting. You know, bamboo is a fast growing renewable resource that captures significant amount of carbon. So these Naga tribes, they carefully manage bamboo forest by harvesting selectively. They allow the plants to regenerate. So this practice conserves bamboo forest and at the same time support livelihood also through traditional bamboo based crafts. Additionally, bamboo's ability to absorb carbon and control soil erosion that makes it valuable for climate change mitigation. So this Naga approach to bamboo management, this again exemplifies sustainable resource use that benefits both the community as well as environment. Now let's take a similar example of sustainable honey hunting by the Kurumba tribe. The Kurumba tribe in Tamil Nadu's Nilgiri Hills, they practice sustainable honey hunting that not only provides them with income but also help conserve the forest. Now, what is unique about this practice? While collecting honey, they leave a portion of the hive intact. They leave a portion of the hive intact to allow the bees to survive and continue their role as vital pollinators. So their deep connection with the forest that extends beyond honey hunting. They rely on the forest for food, medicine, shelter. So by using only what they need and avoiding over exploitation, they ensure the sustainability of these natural resources for future generations. Now again, this symbiotic relationship between the Kurumba tribe and the forest that highlight how indigenous practices can contribute to both livelihoods and environment conservation. So again, a good practice. Now coming to the end of video, let's take this very famous example of Chipko movement. In 1730, over 350 Bishnois, they sacrificed their lives to protect trees from being felled by royal decree, an event that later inspired India's Chipko movement. The Bishnoi community in Rajasthan is renowned for its deep commitment to environmental conservation. Their traditions forbid the felling of trees, they forbid the hunting of wildlife. So, the practices that are central to the community's lifestyle. So, Bishnois have safeguarded the khejri tree, Prosopis cineraria, khejri tree, a critical species in the Thar Desert. This conservation ethic has created a natural sanctuary for endangered species such as the blackbug and chinkara. The Bishnoi approach exemplifies the potential of community-led conservation to protect biodiversity and support ecosystem resilience in arid regions. Now this is a painting made by my son. He is very close to nature and like to paint nature on a canvas. So I have covered many such examples where traditional wisdom, the indigenous wisdom, it really helps combat climate change. So I have left many such case studies, many such traditional indigenous practices by local communities, by local tribes. So now I request you, if you know such a practice, so please write in the comment box, and in the comment box mention such practices. We can have a discussion over that, and we can take this discussion further. So thank you for watching. Thank you very much. Have a nice sustainable new year ahead. Enjoy yourself. Bye bye.